The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by NYRA Bets. Bet the Kentucky Derby by using the code SGPN25 for $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus at nyrabets.com/SGPN25 and start winning today. And welcome, everybody, to the NBA Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's currently Wednesday morning, April 30th, around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm host episode Scott Reichel, joined by Lonte Smith. Together, we're going to break down the two games for the Wednesday card. Unfortunately, we're running out of games because teams keep getting eliminated, but we still have two games going on tonight. We'll see if either team forces a game 6. We'll talk about that in a second. But, of course, we have a couple games to recap from yesterday. Lonte, how's it going with you? How'd you enjoy the action from Tuesday?
Pretty good, man. It was some good games. I mean, I think the playoffs has been really good. So, and enjoying the games. I thought that, I know we'll get into it, but I thought Indiana was going to lose that game and go back to Milwaukee a little bit shaky. But, yeah, I'm excited for the games today and looking forward to the weekend as well, or to the rest of the week as well.
Yep, should be fun. I do want to at least point out some of the games that did end up happening yesterday, and because of the new streaming platform, I have a bit more creativity. So the Bucks, we'll start off there. They got eliminated in one of the weirdest role-player games of all time. Gary Trent Jr. carried his entire team, and then blew the entire game in about a minute. So very weird game. Milwaukee should have won the game about 3 times.
Yeah.
Indiana probably should have won the game about 3 times. And yet somehow you ended up with an overtime game where Giannis's last defensive possession is a Halliburton blow-by, and that might be the last time he is on the actual roster. So I'll start off with the loss itself. When it comes down to like a scale of 1 to 10, that's probably a 9. That's a really bad loss.
I'd say 10.
It could be a 10 because he got eliminated. On the other hand, you also had no Dame, and at least you made the game competitive, so I'm going to give you respect for trying.
That's fair.
Indiana's been playing with their food all year, so I'm not totally shocked they no-showed the first half of that game before eventually remembering how to play basketball. It's a bad loss. I feel bad for Trent Jr., who made 8 of his last 9 threes and then turned the ball over back-to-back possessions. But I'll ask you about the game first, and then we'll go big picture. Any takeaways you had from that game?
Honestly, it played out not how I thought it would. I thought the Pacers would come out and kind of blitz them early on, and then the Bucks would kind of fight their way back and make it kind of similar to what they have been doing this whole series, pretty much. I thought the Bucks would fall behind, and then come back and fight a little bit, and then obviously the Pacers' depth will ultimately help them win the game. But obviously, it played out totally different than what I thought. The Bucks came out extremely aggressive. Gary Trent was great. Giannis was poor going into the last part of the third quarter into the fourth quarter.
Scoring-wise, he was.
Yeah, scoring-wise. Yeah.
He did have a triple-double in the end.
Yeah. Scoring-wise, I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So I thought that was a little bit telling in how the Bucks were playing. I thought AJ Green was not AJ Green. Yeah, AJ Green was really good, shooting the ball well early. And I thought that kind of they complemented each other with Green making shots and Trent making shots. But ultimately, man, it was up 7 with 40 seconds left. You can't lose that game. That's what it all boils down to. I know Trent got him there, and he ultimately ended up somewhat losing it for him. But that defensive effort by Giannis on that last play was disgusting.
Was it? I think that the Trent Jr. effort on Halliburton to end regulation was worse.
Yeah,
that was full Matador defense for that Halliburton dunk to tie the game. So that was really bad. But then you had the altercation after the game, which we're really not going to talk about. There's not really much to talk about there. But either way, a point is for the Bucks. We've got to go big picture now. Because I agree it was a bad loss. It's kind of crazy, though, because it was a massive choke job, and I still can't really blame Doc Rivers for it, which puts me in a bit of a box, because blaming Doc Rivers for choke jobs is such a classic maneuver. I can't even do that, because I don't know what he was supposed to do. Trent Jr. turned the ball over twice when they're trying to run the clock out. So, unfortunate, but either way, nice win for Indiana. Milwaukee's going home, and for big picture stuff, was that the last time we see Giannis in a Milwaukee Bucks uniform?
Should it be? Yes. Will it be? No, I'm not 100% sure. If you listen to some people around, I don't know if you listen to Jeff Teague podcast, but he says
I do sometimes.
Yeah, so he says that, and he's pretty close to Giannis. Obviously, played that one year, the championship year there, and he got
an A on the group project.
Yeah, and so he was saying that Giannis loves it there, his family loves it there, and he really doesn't care about the chasing the ring. But again, Giannis has made it public that he wants to win another ring. He wants to solidify himself even more. So I'm up in the air on, will it be? Now, should it be? Yes, because of the trajectory of the franchise. They don't really have a lot to build around outside of him. And they don't have a ton of young players to develop and get better. Decent pieces, but they're a lot older. They're non-athletic on the wing, no money. Whatever you think about Doc Rivers is whatever, and that staff. But I think it should be. Will it be? I'm kind of like 50-50 on, because obviously it's all dependent upon him and wanting to actually get out of there.
Yes, definitely not a good sign for Milwaukee. You're assuming Dame is going to be out for most of next year. You could argue maybe all of it. And even when he comes back, you don't know how effective he's going to be. So, yeah, Milwaukee's in trouble. And it's also really bad because they don't actually have their own picks for a while. Like, it is
2031.
It's a rough situation.
Yeah.
There are a couple of swaps involved, so in theory, maybe they could keep their pick, but they don't actually fully control their own pick until 2031. This team has serious problems, and you could argue that trading Giannis actually might not do much for them because they don't even have the control of their own pick, so they can't even tank properly. So they're in shambles right now. Like, this is a serious problem, and they're going to be a really underwhelming team for a long time if they decide to trade Giannis. But you might just rip the bandage off and try to rebuild something, because you're not contending for anything in a long time. So I hope he gets traded, because I like seeing him on a good team. Milwaukee, though, they are in a really bad situation. They ran a golden opportunity into the ground, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But either way, really rough loss. I think Giannis, I think he's actually going to stay on Milwaukee, because I think without them controlling their own picks, what's the point? That's kind of where I'm at. You need a ton of picks, and you need the picks to actually result in good prospects immediately, basically, to keep your team somewhat relevant. That's not going to happen. And you're in Milwaukee, no offense. I went to college there for 4 years, I could say it. You're not getting any free agents. So you're just stuck. You're just absolutely stuck. Like, Milwaukee's got serious problems.
Yeah,
but I think Giannis should, if I was him, request a trade. But he's not built that way. Him and Jokic have been, even Luka, have been the European stars who have been willing to stay with their current teams. And Luka got forced out by ownership. But they seem to be a lot more loyal than the American star players, I'll put it that way, that we've seen. So we'll see what happens, but no first-round picks until like 2030 is a serious problem for Milwaukee. You could argue they have the worst situation in the entire league, except Giannis is still there, so at least they got something, but you get what I'm trying to say. I think Giannis is going to be on Milwaukee next year. Do I think he should be? Probably not. But if Giannis wants out, they'll trade him. If he wants to stay, they'll keep him. And they're going to meet up, I think, later this week to discuss it. But I wanted to mention that as the first elimination. Second elimination was the Magic. Banchero got into foul trouble, and the team died. That's kind of what happened. The game were winning. He picked up, I think it was his fifth foul in the third quarter. And then Boston went on like a 30-point run. It was disgusting. But either way, point is, I got nothing to criticize the Magic for. You tried. A round of applause. You put together a good effort. I picked Boston in 5, plus 190. Worked out well. Orlando, they had no shooting at all, yet they still gave Boston problems. Salute to them. They tried their best. They got to really address some shooting. You got to hope Suggs stays healthy. But you know what? You tried your asses off. Yeah. And I'll give respect to the Magic.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't say it better myself. Just like the effort was there every game. They were in every game. I know this one got away from them, but they were leading, mid-third quarter when Paolo went to the bench?
Yeah, they were up at halftime. They were up third quarter. Then Banchero got into foul trouble. Yeah. At that point, the game was over very, very quickly.
Yeah, so, I mean, I applaud the effort. They got to do some roster overhauls and figure out where they want to go. Obviously, I know you were missing Suggs, but again,
you have no shooting anyway.
Yeah, so great defensively, but again, that's what you do defensively. I mean, he's a good on-ball defender, but again, you have the defense thing set. So, interested to see. I think Wendell Carter's a good backup. I don't think he's a starter. Or maybe he is, just alongside another.
I don't think he's a starter.
Another big. Yeah, I mean, maybe it just kind of depends on how you look at it.
The Lakers, though, would kill to have Wendell Carter Jr. on the team right now. But I think for the most part, he's not a starter.
Yeah, they'd kill to have anybody right now.
That's what I'm saying.
But
shout out to Alex Lynn.
Yeah. But I mean, applaud the effort. I think the Magic, they keep ascending. I mean, obviously, I know that they dealt with injuries, but still, despite that, they still were, able to make the playoffs. Any other team who loses their stars, they're 1-2 for that long, and then loses their 3. Like, I don't think they would have been able to withstand it, but I credit to them for fighting. And I mean, Boston's Boston. I'm kind of worried about Boston going forward with the injury concerns. So I know we'll get into that later on, but
Yeah, props to Tatum, though. Gets lost in the shuffle. He's been great the last
oh
3
my
games of
God.
the series, so I want to give him a shout-out because he's been very good.
Yeah, one of the most underwhelming superstars ever.
Underwhelming or underrated?
Underrated. I'm sorry, not underwhelming.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Underwhelming in the finals, maybe, but underrated, I think, so way that
Yeah,
I would describe
underrated. My
Tatum
bad.
too.
Yeah,
But
my bad, JT.
yeah, either way, point is Tatum did well attend the series, and nobody talked about him, so good for Tatum.
Exactly.
Orlando, tried. You had no real talent, you had no shooting, you had 2 guys. It was basically 2-on-5, as Freeze mentioning. Nothing to really add there. A 2-on-5 you handled. When it was a 1-on-5, you got blown out by about 30. So that's kind of what happened there in that game. Moving on, though, to the other games, 2 teams that were not eliminated, but one team looked really bad. I know the series isn't over yet, but I did a full rant on Ty Lue yesterday, and they proceeded to get blown out anyway in Game 5. I'm going to ask you, why do the Clippers fail every year? Is it A, bad coaching? Is it B, overrated players that disappear in big moments? Or is it C, both?
Well, I don't think they failed yet.
That's what I'm saying. I know, I'm
but
premature here. I'm just throwing it out there.
y-
I'm asking
yeah,
why do they? Because it looks like we're headed to a similar ending point that we've seen for the entire, I'd say, Harden Kawhi era in Los Angeles.
yeah, I would say some of it is a bad draw,
Yes,
and
that's it.
a lot of it is just players not being healthy. This year, actually, this is the first year we can say like, hey, they were healthy, and if they lose, that they lost. Like,
And at least
so
they had an excuse in their back pocket. Now they got
yeah,
nothing.
now they have nothing to nothing to bang their head on. So I mean, the coaching can be a little bit better, but again, I think the players have to execute. Defensively, they were horrible last
They're
night.
so
I mean,
bad
they
yesterday.
were horrible
They're so bad.
defensively. They let Russ get going. Jamal Murray, 43 points on 1 free throw attempt. I mean,
Such an ethical hooper.
after
Yeah.
everybody coming into the season and coming into the series saying, they have the most, I guess, respectable defensive wings in a playoff setting. Like that, for them to say that and to put up 131, where Joker doesn't even score. He didn't score 20, right?
No, I believe he had, what do you have, like 13, 10,
12
and
and 11 or
12?
something. Yeah, something like that. But
I think he had like 13 points because he just realized, oh, Murray's on a heater. I'm getting out of the way.
yeah, and that's fine. I mean, that's the brilliance of him just knowing, picking his spots. But I think that the coaching has to be a little bit better. But again, the players got to execute a lot better defensively. I mean, that was a poor effort from the jump. They kind of fought back in the second quarter, but they not let go of the rope, but they just didn't have it in the third quarter.
I didn't even know there was a rope. It
Yeah.
just left very quickly. I didn't know they had a rope.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to try something different with Murray when he's got it going like that. I mean, obviously he hasn't played the best this series, but I mean, I think they not stole one, but I think this is a horrible look for the Clippers. Now they can come back in Game 6 and blast the Nuggets, and it's a coin flip game in
Same
Game
spot
7.
as Minnesota last year, but I feel a lot worse about this Clippers team right now than I did going into the series. So
Yeah, but I think they'll be fine at home. So I guess to answer your question, the long-winded way of saying, I think it's a combination of all those things. I don't think any player is overrated. I mean, Harden didn't have the best game, but he's been good this series. So I don't really want to put a ton on him. I mean, I put a ton on just the defensive effort from those wings who were supposed to be defensive minded, like Chris Dunn, Kawhi, even taking a part in it, guarding Murray. Like, somebody's got to take some kind of ownership on a defensive end, and maybe it's the coaching because of schematics. But yeah, so I guess a combination of both.
yeah, I think the main argument that I had, which was part of my Ty Lue roast yesterday, also involves Adelman. Now, Kaysen's pointing out that Adelman deserves respect. I agree with you. However, when Ty Lue is viewed as an inner circle elite head coach, I think most people would put him in the top 5 coaches in the league. You're getting torched by an interim guy that coached about 4 games. Now, I know you could argue that Joker's also basically the coach on that team, and Joker's a basketball savant. At the same point, though, like, I have to call Ty Lue out because we've seen the Clippers underachieve in the playoffs for years. Yes, injuries were a big reason for that, but still, you're actually healthy. You're favored to win the series. You won a blowout game a couple of games ago. And since then, you've been down 20 plus in both games.
Yeah,
Like, this can't happen. You're getting torched right now. And I feel like the coaching has been problematic for the Clippers. I know that once again, the Nuggets look healthier, and you're looking at Porter Jr., who has played well since the really bad game. Westbrook came back. He was great yesterday. And you saw Murray have an absolute, heater. But still, there's something just off with the wiring of this team. Even Kawhi becomes too passive at times. Harden, though, no-showed basically the entire game. He had a couple of layups late. I mentioned that I think Coffey should play more, at least trying to do something. And Dax agrees with me. He thinks that Bogdanović should play less. To be honest, I'll give Bogdanović a pass for yesterday. He was one of the only guys that looked like he actually wanted to be there. There was no effort at all from the majority of the roster. Bogdanović and Westbrook got alternating texts there. At least Bogdanović was actually willing to show some fight in the game. Chris Dunn actually made some three-pointers. They got double-digit points from Chris Dunn. They still lost by 20.
Probably not a good look defensively, though. Yeah,
no, defensively. Then again, Dunn's also in a weird spot where he was playing like 20 minutes a game or less, and now he's playing like 30, and they're just throwing him out there. I'm not surprised he's exhausted, because he has not played this amount of minutes the entire season, and now they're throwing him out there to play this every single game.
Yeah, good point.
Harden was horrible. Kawhi was passive. Zubac, I thought, was not too great, but
he's been steady, though. He's been steady all season.
He's been steady, but I know. But I feel like, once again, when you're trying to go for the big four to beat the big two that the Nuggets have, you kind of are hoping for a little bit more. Maybe a Zubac game with like a 20-20 in there. I'm not blaming Zubac for the reason why they're currently down 3-2. But I do think that Adelman's done a good job. I think that Ty Lue has really done nothing in terms of adjustments this entire series. And I had to bring up the question because it does open the door for more Harden criticism after having a pretty bad playoff game yesterday. Kawhi, though, does get pretty passive at times. He was one rebound away from a triple-double yesterday, and I forgot that he actually had a solid game. I thought that he was pretty unimpactful for a large portion of it. Maybe it was because of just the margin, where Denver was up by so much that Kawhi's stats didn't mean anything. So you kind of ignored him in the back of your mind. But there's just something off at the wire in this team. Maybe it's heart, maybe it's focus, intensity. There's just something not there. Felt like Denver got to every loose ball yesterday, every second chance point, every ball first to dive on the floor. Felt like the Clippers were always second to actually get those chances. It just feels like right now this team is back to where they've always been, which is letting go of the rope when things go poorly. And it feels like we're approaching that again. After the fourth quarter of that Aaron Gordon game where you came all the way back down 20, you showed some life, you come out in the following game, and instead of trying to build off that, you're down double digits immediately. You got run out of the building as soon as the game started. You were never in the game. You cut it to 8 or maybe 6 like once, but you were down a ton the entire game, and you showed no heart the entire game. So I wanted to mention that. It's a bad look for the Clippers. I'm done betting on the Clippers. I can't stand this damn team. So I'm done betting on them. Either way, nice job by Murray, nice job by the Nuggets. They're one game away. We'll see if they close out the series in Game 6. Last point, I know that we do have other games to get to for the card. Shout out to the Pistons for surviving in MSG. I know that Terrell and I did pick the Pistons to actually cover the game, and I think we picked them to win the game. We thought that we might end up getting some referee issues in that game. We did. The refs were horrible in that game. Nice job by Detroit, though. They looked like they were going to blow the game 3 separate times. Cade was great. You ended up seeing Duran have a solid job on the boards, and they got the job done. Asar was fantastic.
He was.
Yesterday.
He was amazing.
And Brunson was horrible. I know he was bad on the injury, but then again, when you drop like 14, 15 points in the fourth quarter after the injury, then you're kind of expecting a good game afterwards, and he was 4 of 16. So Brunson was bad, but Asar was great. Cade was solid down the stretch, and Detroit survived. Anything else you want to add? Because I know we got 2 games, but I wanted to at least bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, credit to the Pistons. They are really feisty. They play with a ton of resilience. We see them get down and fight back, especially in that building, one of the better buildings in the entire world. And, I mean, just credit to them for fighting. And I don't really think – I'm kind of worried about the Knicks' injuries. I know Josh Hart went down. And Brunson
Knicks injuries? We never have this happen. Really?
Yeah.
Worried about them in the playoffs?
And, like, Brunson keeps – it's not that – I mean, I get he's coming back, but it keeps happening. And, like, I think that's concerning going forward. And I don't think he particularly played bad. I mean, he got pretty much all the shots that he wanted. He just kind of missed. So I think that's kind of concerning on the Detroit side. You kind of want to. I mean, I know you're happy with the 16 points, but I don't know if you're happy with the shot selection. Like, granted, you can. It's similar to, like, you can have a good game, but you're hitting contested shots, you're going to the free throw line, whatever the case may be, and you'll have to live with that. But some of the stuff that Brunson was getting, I thought, was like perfect looks. He just was missing. So I would kind of alter the defense to kind of help him. I mean, to kind of help out a little bit more on him. Asar was a little bit less aggressive, which helped him stay out of foul trouble, which again kind of let him stay on the floor. Because if you notice throughout the first few games, he's been getting in foul trouble early, which is taken away from his aggression. But he limited that in this game, and I think him being on the court was a complete positive. So credit to the Pistons, man. I'm hoping that they can get a home win for their fans in the next one, and we get a Game 7.
Yeah, so a couple of things I want to actually talk about. First things first, it was a game that felt like the Knicks kind of, I don't want to say needed to win because they're up 3-1, but if you get 13 and 11 from Mitchell Robinson, you should probably win the damn game. Like, that's all I'm saying. Robinson was actually great in that game, and it didn't matter. I mean, he still can't hit a free throw, but he still played well. And I thought Beasley for Detroit wasn't that great again. Hardaway Jr. was horrible, and they still won. Yep. So Detroit didn't play that well. They survived.
He was horrible. First half, he was horrible.
He was. And then he had a solid second half and a fourth quarter, and Duran had a couple of big plays late, 14 rebounds with him too. But Asar was very good, and really good. I thought that was definitely the main reason why they won. Asar's energy and defense just forced Brunson into a lot of, I'd say, effort being used on every possession, and I thought they ran out of gas. But either way, a point is a nice win there for the Pistons. Feels like the Knicks should have won the game, but either way, doesn't matter. We're going back to Detroit for Game 6. Please win a home game, Detroit.
Yeah, please, for those fans.
Please. Just try to win a home game. I'd love to see a 7-game series, so we'll see what happens, but that has been probably the best series in the first round. You could argue that the Rockets-Warriors has been pretty good too, but I think for consistency, the Pistons and Knicks series has been solid in every game.
I agree.
So we'll go from there. Either way, though, point is that's going to wrap it up for the recap of the games here on Tuesday. Now it's time to move on to the actual card for Wednesday. Only 2 games, though, so that's why we took our time recapping what happened yesterday. A reminder, though, before we get into that you can't just support for the show, but like, subscribing, and YouTube reminder, you also leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple, either for the NBA show, the WNBA show, the tennis show, the MLB show. Pretty much every podcast with the network does also have a YouTube feed, so don't forget to subscribe to those shows individually, and don't forget to leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Plus, a reminder, they're brought to you by EdgeBoost, because they're the first ever bank account for bettors. They also ensure that all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimum balance. You can also get cash rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today. EdgeBoost have code HPN, and they also have a bonus deal right now. Deposit $25, and EdgeBoost will match the deposit. That's EdgeBoost have code HPN. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. It's Derby Week at SGPN. Make sure to check out the horse racing podcast, Notorious OTB, for all of your picks. Plus, get in on the action for the most exciting 2 minutes in sports with NYRA Bets. Sign up today. Boost your Derby bankroll with a $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus with promo code SGPN25. Join now. Claim your $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus at nyrabets.com. So it's SGPN25. We're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag, because they are the book to bet every sport. They have the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. Congrats, for the way, on the Hurricanes winning in double overtime. But you also have the baseball card as well, the UFC, all the sports you can think of, all the leagues you can think of, MyBookie does have. They props in every game as well. They also have the customer ton of locations. You can also use crypto for letting fast payouts and easy deposits. And a reminder, use the promo code SGPN when you sign up for a new account and get 100% deposit match up to 1K. Terms and conditions apply. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA podcast. Finish recapping what happened on a Tuesday. Time to move on to the short slate for the Wednesday card. 2 Western Conference matchups. You have the Rockets hosting the Warriors, trying to avoid elimination, as the over-unders at 204.5. Injury report, Jimmy Butler's probable. Guy had a monster second half in the last game. And for Houston, I see no Tate, but basically everyone's playing. So I'll ask you, because this is the first of 2 games where we might see the series end. However, there is no Scott Foster, who I guess is still rehabbing, or he's still on vacation. Who knows? But there will not be a use of the extender for this series. I'll ask you, though, for this matchup. Houston probably should have won the last game, and we saw Udoka, in my opinion, just unravel down the stretch with its coaching decisions. They ended up seeing the Warriors come back and win. Hield made the big three. Butler took over the second half. Curry was really not good at all, and Golden State won
At
anyway
all.
because Draymond got that big stop on Şengün late. Shout out to Butler for the rebound at the end. I'll ask you, though, for this game. Feels like a game that Houston should win, and the urgency should be in their favor. But Houston's really bad at closing. Van Vliet, though, might have remembered how to shoot, which is kind of important to mention. I'll ask you for this game, though. Do you like Houston? Do you think Golden State closes it out?
Yeah, I like Houston. Honestly, you probably can be debated if the series should probably be even. I thought every game has been really competitive, similar to the Knicks Pistons series, if you ask me. And I think I think the Rockets and the Pistons are similar as well. But the biggest difference is that Cade is a closer, and they have more people to be able to close versus the Rockets benching their second best player or first best player, however you want to.
I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I don't even know what you're supposed to do with Jalen Green.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But essentially, like the Rockets have had control in pretty much all of these games, and they just can't close the deal. Whether it's a shot.
Well, game one they never had control of, but they made the game very, very close.
Yeah. So the last three games they've had control of. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the first one they got the doors blown off. Yeah, so I like the Rockets in this game. I think the desperation is going to set in. I do think that they have to go more Eason, less Amen Thompson to me, because Amen's not been good in this series at all. I know he's guarding Steph. He did a decent job. Well, he did a really good job if you hold Curry under 20 points.
To be fair, I thought Amen was actually pretty good last game, and he started the fourth quarter off well, and then just put him in the corner, and he did nothing the rest of regulation. But he actually had a couple of nice drives in the fourth quarter.
Right, yeah, but I think Eason's a little bit better on the offensive end, and you have to kind of honor him when he's in that corner doing things. And he can actually create a little bit. They put Thompson in a dunker or in the corner, and he they can kind of shade off of him, which is why Jalen Green is struggling, I think. Well, I mean, along with other things, but I think they're just loading the court up whenever he's dribble driving. Şengün is missing a ton of easy looks at the back. Like the reason he's getting a lot of those rebounds is because his missed shots, and he's not been good around the rim.
Except when Draymond's out of the game. When Draymond's out of the game, he turns into Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, that's just a credit to Dre's ability to play really good, solid defense. But yeah, I like the Rockets in this specific spot. I think they have to have some margin, whether that's 7 or 8 points or whether that's like 4 or 5 points, to give themselves enough room down the stretch to where they can botch a few things and still be fine. I will say that the Dylan Brooks foul a little bit questionable. I don't think he should have. I don't think they should.
So I think it was technically a foul. The problem was it was the day after the Tim Hardaway Jr. incident, and when you compare everything, it's significantly softer contact than that. Having said that, he did have his arm into the torso of a shooter, and that's going to get called. Plus, Butler's going to make some noises and he'll flail a little bit.
Yeah, he did flail a little. But what I'm saying
is, he did, because he knew he's an expert at drawing fouls. But he had his arm on him. It's a soft.
You've been letting him battle and fight all game, and then you call that. I mean,
it's a really soft call. But Butler, we know, is never afraid of pump faking 7 times and flopping into contact.
Yeah, and then Şengün was a horrible play on the inbound to put Golden State up 1 when Curry pump faked off the screen. That was horrible. Just stay down. He's gonna pump fake. So
there's only 2 seconds on the shot clock too, and he got a wide open look out of that.
Yeah. So I like the Rockets to rebound here and get things going. I think they should go back to that double big lineup a little bit more. I mean, I thought he went away from it way too soon. I mean, at least let Adams shoot the shots, and then
I would let him try once.
I would go twice. I would go twice just because you have they have the best offensive rebound rate in the league by a wide margin. Mm-hmm. So even if he does miss, you have the opportunity to gain another possession off of that. So let's just say he splits and then you get the offensive rebound 1 out of 2 times. You raise your points per possession. In that. I mean, I don't want to get too nerdy, but they raise their ceiling of that type of thing. And
to be fair, Houston's offense also not too good to begin with. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So your best pretty much your best offense is off the offensive rebound. That's what the numbers would show. So yeah, I would give it a few times. But again, I think they're gonna have to go. That's the lineup that gives them the best shot to win, and it's proven. I think Steven Adams was plus 13, plus 14 in the game.
He had 4 blocks.
Yeah, he was amazing, and he also allowed Şengün to kind of play a little bit deeper into the post because they have to honor Steven Adams on one side of the dunker, and then you got Amen Thompson on the other side of the dunker. So they got to honor him. They got to honor those two guys, and they can't crash on Sengun. So he's able to play one-on-one. And whenever he's able to get not 15 to 17 feet, but when he's able to get from 8 to 10, he's a little bit better. So I think the Rockets will make the requisite adjustments. I think Jalen Green has to play better. I don't know if he will, but he has to play a lot better than what he has been in the series specifically. So a long-winded way of saying I like the Rockets in the game.
I think I'm going to go with Houston as well. We've seen Golden State win series, but we've seen them also no-show these closeout games on the road before. This isn't anything new. I don't think it's going to be as bad as the Memphis game where they lost by 50-plus points, but you get what I'm trying to say. Golden State knows in the back of their mind we have a couple more cracks at it. We do have a home game in Game 6. It wouldn't shock me if Houston jumped them early. I think they need to. They can't afford to go down 13-2 again to start the game. They came back, but the point is, I do think Houston looks pretty sharp early. We saw them look good in Game 2. Butler barely played in Game 2, but still. The crowd should be very into it. I agree with you. I think there's a reason why Houston is favored by 2 possessions, despite being down 3-1. They can't really close. It's a problem, but I see Golden State's effort level not being in the same stratosphere as Houston's. Hopefully, Brooks keeps his mouth shut, talking to Jimmy Butler for this game, but I do think Houston wins this game comfortably, in my opinion. I think Golden State knows in the back of their mind, if they fall behind early, it's fine. We got a couple games to go. I think Houston, though, in a win-or-go-home game, I will pick them to actually show up for once. Give me Houston with you. I think Golden State offensively comes out flat, and I do think that defensively, they'll do a pretty good job on Steph. I think you're going to end up seeing Butler, whether he battles injury or not, look a bit underwhelming compared to what we saw in the second half of the last game. But I think that Houston will go back to the double big lineup. Mm-hmm. We'll see if Kerr starts hacking Adams immediately. We'll see what happens there. But I do think Golden State, if they fall behind early, there's a chance they might try to conserve some energy for some guys. We'll see what happens there. But I think I agree with you. I just think in a must-win game, yes, the classic cliche, we saw it with Detroit. Yes, the Knicks could have won the game anyway. It felt like the effort level was higher on one side than the other by comparison. I just think Houston will show that effort at home. And Golden State, as a veteran team, knows that they have a game or two in their back pocket. And if it falls behind early and it doesn't go their way, they could, in theory, let go of the rope and try to save energy. It's a possibility, but I will go with the Rockets in this game with you. I think they'll win by like 8. Something like that. Yeah, so I'll go with Houston in this game. The total's interesting because the game went over last time out because Van Vliet lost his damn mind. He had 8 threes. Sengun was insane, but Draymond was in foul trouble basically from the 8-minute mark of the third quarter. And they had no answers for Sengun the entire second half besides that. Do you like the over or the under?
I like under. I mean, I don't think you can we got pretty fortunate to go over that number a lot. The way it was trending, it was going to be a dead nuts under, and then, like you said, Van Vliet kind of hit a few shots, and then the free throw disparity kind of picked up for the Warriors with them getting in the bonus, and then like the Rockets were in the bonus because of the hack of Adams. So a lot of that contributed to the over. I think we're going to see the effort level of the Houston Rockets up a few notches. Like you said, I do think the Warriors may pull the plug a little bit earlier than usual if they're down, 14-15 in, mid fourth quarter. I think they might pull the plug a little bit versus going forward in other instances. And remember, Jimmy had a couple extra days between those games whenever he was out. Now on one day's rest plus travel, I wonder how he's going to respond to that. And also, I just think the Rockets are going to play with a lot more energy and effort to win this game, which is how they generally win games and how they won games in the regular season. So I like the under. I think both teams might struggle to get to 100 here.
Yeah, I think my hot take is actually going to be Golden State team total under for this game. I don't feel great about it, but I do think when you're looking at how this team fared in the last game, they got 109. Curry didn't play that well. Podziemski was incredible. Hield was very solid, and Butler took over the second half. I thought that Houston defensively was good for the most part before they kind of just lost track of their guys, especially to start the third quarter. They were down. They gave up an 18-1 run to start the third quarter, which can happen. But I think that Houston defensively did pretty well for most of the game before they kind of unraveled late. I think they'll figure some stuff out. But I think if I'm going with the under, I think Houston's offense can actually do some things well here. I think we'll go with the under for Golden State team total. I just think that Houston shows up for this game, and I'll pick them to take care of business and force a game 6. Anyway, moving on to the next game on the card. You have another team trying to force a game 6 as the Lakers are down 3-1. They're favored by 6.5. You'd assume Scott Foster was on the game. He is not. But their Lakers are favored by about 3 possessions anyway, and the over-under is at 209.5. For the injury report, you have for Minnesota, no Dillingham, who I forgot was still on the team. And Kleber is currently questionable. We'll see if he plays. They could use him. I'll tell you that much. But Kleber, you might have forgotten, is on the roster. He might have been taken off the shelf because they really need another center. And playing Jackson Hayes 4 minutes a game does nothing for you. So I'll ask you for this game. The Lakers had a lot of chances to win the last game. They got a monster game from LeBron, Luka, and Reeves was pretty good too. Think all 3 of them combined for 82 points, and they still lost the game. They had an extra day off because they played on Sunday. So we'll see if Luka and LeBron play 45 minutes in this game, probably, for this one. But they're favored by 6.5. Do you think Minnesota shows up, or do you think it's kind of similar to game 2, where the Lakers, with their backs against the wall in a must-win game, just show up and kind of just put the clams down defensively and take control early and win by like 10?
Yeah, I think the Lakers are going to bury him here simply because of the back against the wall mentality. We talked about it with you guys talked about it with Detroit yesterday, and we just talked about it with the Rockets. So I'm going to take that theme and roll it over here. I do think, I mean, the Lakers, this is a far more different series. Obviously, if Luka's not, not throwing his guts up during the game and before the game for food poisoning, and then you have the meltdown, probably two of the worst possessions I've ever seen LeBron have in his career with the 28-footer.
Does an inbound turnover count as a possession?
I would say yes, because
that wasn't as bad as the Bulls inbound turnover, but it wasn't good. Why is LeBron a horrible inbound passer?
I don't understand that. Elite passer overall, but just can't.
Just like multiple times in crunch time, he's turned it over.
He bounced the ball right. He bounced the ball right to.
It was terrible.
Was that it? Like he bounced the ball right
multiple times this season in the last month, he's turned it over on an inbound pass.
Yeah. So, So you're those 3 things away from this being at the best 2-2. You know what I'm saying? So, and the 4 quarter meltdowns are something that I don't know if they're going to get better depending upon what rotations JJ uses.
Rotations. He just left the same 5 guys out there the entire second half.
Right, and I would think you would need to do that for this game because there's no tomorrow after this game. So I would assume that those guys would not play a ton early, and then he'll get them rested up, early in the first quarter, early in the third quarter, early in the fourth quarter, and then have them go the distance. So, and that's all predicated on how Minnesota comes out, because I think Minnesota has played extremely well. They, arguably, if you want to point to whatever, they've been, somewhat of the better team. But again, at home, back against the wall, I think that the Lakers and Luka respond. I do think LeBron has a big night. Just get away from it. Just don't play Jackson Hayes. Just I don't know
what the 4 minutes do for you.
Yeah, they do nothing. So just don't play him. Start Rui at the 5. Rui's been good. I mean, he hasn't been that good defensively. He's been really good offensively.
I forgot to mention him too. He had a crazy game last game and they still lost.
Yeah, he was hitting every single shot.
What, he had 5 threes last game?
Yeah. So he's been good. Just start him at the 5, start LeBron at the 4, and play DFS at the 3. Like it's not that hard, and you're able to play. DFS has been making a ton of threes too. Well, a decent amount of threes, keeping the defense honest. And if you want to think Kleber's going to come in and maybe contribute a little bit, I don't really.
If he plays, we don't know.
I don't think he'll be a big piece to anything. But I do think the Lakers will play better defensively, which is where they are struggling the most at. Offense, I mean, they're pretty much getting what they want offensively. There's just too many turnovers. Run out of gas a lot. They get away from their sets in the fourth quarter, just go a lot of high pick and roll, Luka ISO for 15 seconds. And I think they'll stop that and run a lot more of their sets here. Something that worked that I thought from going from game 1 to game 2, granted it was in a different light because it was only 1-0, but he played Luka more off ball. Don't allow Luka to dribble the ball up. They're going to pester him at the on the inbound. Let Austin Reeves bring the ball up. Let LeBron bring the ball up. and let Luka get into the offense, you know, where you have 17, 16 seconds versus getting into it when you have 9 and 10. So I think that fluidity is a lot more in the Lakers' favor when that happens offensively. So I'm gonna take the Lakers here. I think they come out with a lot of energy and effort. So I'll take the 6.5 with you. I'll lay the 6.5. My bad.
I might go for a cop out here. Give me Lakers first quarter.
I like that too.
I don't trust this team to close games, which sounds crazy because they have Luka and LeBron. See, LeBron's in the spot where it comes to the actual conversation about him, whereas age is used both ways. On one hand, he's this old. How is he still doing it? What an incredible athlete. Then he no-shows the fourth quarter of back-to-back games, and they go, what do you want from him? The guy's 40 years old. You can't have it both ways. Like, you have to show up in crunch time.
I agree.
I have to call out LeBron for it. I know you're a Lakers fan, so you're going to agree with me here.
No, that's cool. Yeah, but I agree with you, though.
LeBron had had the insane heat check 2 games ago, and then he didn't score a single point the last 6 minutes or last 5:59 of the fourth quarter. Scored 0 points the entire fourth quarter in the next game. And people aren't really talking. I mean, the people that hate on LeBron are going to talk about it. The people that defend LeBron will say, well, he's older. What do you want from the guy? I want you to not disappear in crunch time when you and Luka are, of course, the main 2 guys on the team. LeBron has been horrific in the last 6 minutes of these 2 games. And that's why they lost. Because offensively, they shut down in these games. And yes, you could argue that Luka got tripped by McDaniels. I didn't see much, to be honest. I get that he stepped on his foot. I don't think McDaniels meant to, trip him or anything. But either way, the point is that the Lakers needed LeBron and Luka to step up offensively in crunch time. And LeBron has vanished in the fourth quarter of these games. And I have to call it out because you need LeBron to play a full 48 if you want to win. Yes, I understand. Oh, he's so old. The Lakers shouldn't have to rely on him this much. It sucks to suck. Like, what do you want me to tell you? They need him to play well for 48 minutes. You don't have a choice. Yep. Your roster's not deep enough. It's why JJ abandoned the entire bench unit for the second half of what they thought was a must-win game, which I thought it was too. I thought the Lakers were going to win that game. I think everyone did when they were up double digits in the early third. They went on a massive run the third quarter. I think we all thought the game was going to be going in favor of the Lakers. And you know what? Ant pulled them back. Ant was great. Randall was really good. Naz Reid had some big shots.
Really good.
It feels like the Lakers, even though LeBron has had some good overall stat games this season, their crunch time offense late in games has been worse than Minnesota's. And it's why they've lost. A lot of these games have been close. And yes, age is a factor. Yes, you could argue that Luka getting torched defensively doesn't help. He's a traffic cone half the time. And McDaniels blows right past them on almost every possession. That's why they're losing. The defense has not been great. According to one GM, defense wins championships. Shout out to Nico. But Luka's been really bad defensively, which I think you'd agree with. And LeBron, despite being up there in years, and I understand how much is on his plate, you have to show up. At least you have to try in the fourth quarter. And LeBron in back-to-back games has no shown crunch time. And they've lost close games. So I have to mention it because the defense wasn't going to be a concern. They have no rim protection, which is also an issue. That's why Minnesota gets downhill all the time. But I think you'd agree with me about LeBron. You can't have basically 18 straight minutes of fourth quarter action with 0 baskets.
Absolutely.
That can't happen. So I'm pointing that out. So I'll ignore the fourth quarter. Maybe Minnesota backdoors the thing. But give me Lakers first quarter. Okay. With the crowd, with the atmosphere, with LeBron and Luka being rested. I see them jumping Minnesota early. They'll be up double digits. Will they choke it? I don't know. But give me Lakers first quarter. That's my thoughts. Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add for the matchup itself?
No. I think we pretty much hit on everything.
So there you go. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add for the series because we can open it up a little bit to discussion. But with no rim protection and basically a traffic cone on the perimeter, which is what Luka's been for most of the series, you don't have anybody that can clean up the defensive mistakes you're making on the perimeter. And it's why Ant's going for 43. Because they're matchup hunting. The Lakers are switching everything. And nobody can stay in front of Ant.
Yeah. I think so he's playing the zone. He's playing basically the boxes and elbows.
They're trying to do something.
Zone. Yeah, but he's getting but my thing is you can't let Ant. I mean, any good player is going to realize what's going on and find their spots. So he's sticking with it too long. Like I get it that you're you wanted to limit the I guess the rebounding because of the lack of size, but you can't play it for a full quarter and a half, 2 quarters, because he's going to figure it out. So I think you got to mix it up a little bit more defensively. I know the Lakers don't like to run a ton, but I would try to get out and run before Minnesota sets their defense up as well. So maybe they play with a little bit more pace here, back against the wall. I mean, series-wise, I do think if they win, I think if the Lakers win this game, they're going to win the series.
Really? You think they come all the way back?
I think if they win this game, they're going to win this series.
Okay. So you're picking the Lakers to win the series?
Yeah, I am basically. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Before the series started, I picked the Lakers. And my concern was Minnesota late in games because I saw them blow a 20-point lead to Milwaukee, and they mess around. Sometimes they'll have some of the dumbest basketball stretches imaginable, just with bad shot selection, etc. I actually think I like Minnesota and how they've played in the series and how they match up with the Lakers. See, I see Daquan mentioning that LeBron still looks better than Jordan. That's kind of my point. I'm not trying to compare him to Jordan at 40. My point is LeBron's been awful in the fourth quarter of these games. Like, it's a whole separate point. I understand, once again, the expectations are insanely high for a 40-year-old man. But to be honest, for the Lakers to win, they need him to play insanely well, no matter how improbable it might seem. I'm just mentioning LeBron's been really bad in the fourth quarter of these games. I'm not comparing him to Jordan at 40. My point is LeBron needs to step up late in games, and so far he hasn't. I think the Lakers win this game. I think it's going to be closer than the people think, but I prefer Lakers first quarter. Do I think they'll go into Minnesota and win? I'm going to say no.
That's fair.
We're going to break down Game 6 in a couple days, but I think Minnesota, right now, maybe it's a coaching thing with Finch.
Finch is really
Finch
good.
has had an incredible series.
He's really good.
He's done a great job with the rotations, with the defensive assignments. Feels like they're more organized than the Lakers. And the Lakers, maybe it does involve Luka and a lack of rim protection. It feels like they have 2 times the amount of defensive breakdowns than the Timberwolves do. And the Lakers get good offense because Luka and LeBron can hit crazy shots, and, Reeves is still solid as well. But it feels like the actual integrity of their defense, possession by possession, is pretty solid. And the Lakers have a ton of just breakdowns all the time. And I think their consistency defensively is enough to get them the series win. So I will agree with you about the Lakers winning this game. The spread feels kind of high for a team that's been really bad closing games. But I am going to go with the Lakers first quarter to jump them. Luka drops 15 again in the first quarter. They're up 10, and we'll go from there. But I see them starting off hot in a must-win game. So give me Lakers first quarter as my pick there for this one. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for the 2 games on the card here for Wednesday. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. For that, though, a reminder that we're brought to you by our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Play the one pick them for chance of 100 times your money. You can also use different sports. You use the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, baseball. You could use UFC, esports, etc. When you sign up for a new account, use the promo code NBSGPN. Go special for time was offer up to 1 game bonus cash. Fantasy promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought by Rhythm because they're the home of that picks and props. They're also available for the NBA playoffs and the MLB prop markets, so you can dominate those with Rhythm. Build your own models also, which is very easy to do. You can also try it out for free for a week by using the 7-day free trial that Rhythm's offering. They also have great discount codes for you. They have a monthly deal and an annual deal. Monthly deal, though, 25% off with the promo code SGPN25, 50% off the annual deal with promo code SGPN50. It's Rhythm, RATHMN, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial, though, by going to sportscampodcast.com/RATHMM. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the 2 games on the Wednesday card. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. Lonte, I'll let you go first. What is going to be your lock and dog for the Wednesday games?
Yeah, so we're going to go with a first quarter as well, but we're going to go with the other side. We're going to go with the Houston Rockets -1.5. You can get it at like -106, -107 if you shop around. I think we talked about it. They have to come out with extreme confidence, extreme effort to put Golden State behind the 8 ball. They actually have been playing them extremely well in the first quarter. They're +13 at home in the first quarter. I think they played them even in the previous game, and then in game 3 they were down 2. So overall, like +11 in the first quarter. At home, I just think they'll come out with their backs against the wall and play extremely well to make Golden State fight uphill. So I like -1.5 for that. And for the dog, I'm going with Austin Reeves, 25 points. That is at plus. Hold on 1 second. My bad. I had it. That should be at.
I'm gonna guess it's like 3-1 or something like that.
Yes, plus 285.
Okay,
but you can
close.
actually, Caesars is 3-1, FanDuel 340. So yeah, let's just go. We'll just break even. I mean, just split the middle. We'll just go 3-1 for Austin Reeves. I think he has a good game.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I mean, I think I'd prefer his threes, honestly, because there is a path where he hits like 5 threes and scores 20 points. We saw that in the last game. So that could be an option too. For my lock, I'm going to go with the Lakers first quarter. I'll go with the -2.5 at about -105. That's on BetMGM. Even if the Lakers blow this game, they really have no excuse to start off slowly. The crowd will be behind them. We saw it in game 2. The Lakers, if they're going to win this game, I think need to get off to a good start, and I'm going to pick them to do so. I think Luka and LeBron will play well early. Will they run out of gas? Maybe. I'm not going to worry about that. Give me the Lakers first quarter. I'll capitalize on the four Jackson Hayes minutes. Just kidding. The point is, though, if Kleber comes back, you might end up not seeing Hayes at all. You might see Kleber start instead. And even though Kleber hasn't played in a long time, at least he gives you some spacing. You can go 5 out in theory and try to drag Rudy away from the basket, maybe, if you want to make an argument for it. But give me the Lakers to start off well in this game. Will they win the game? Remains to be seen. But I think they win the quarter by at least 3. Maybe some foul trouble early for Minnesota. But give me a solid first quarter for the Lakers as my lock. -2.5 there at -105. For the dog, though, I was pretty torn here because Houston's favored. And I think they're actually going to win today. As for Minnesota, they're dogs, but I think the Lakers are going to win too. So I am really torn here, actually. For my points, you know what? I actually might go for a prop. It might be a hot take here. Am I going to fade Steph? Is this a hot take here? If I'm picking Houston to win, I am kind of picking them to keep Curry in check.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a hot take, but it's a risky proposition. I'll say that.
It is very risky. He did a 17 last game. He has had less than 21 points, though, in 2 of the last 3 games. But Curry's also, we know, so good against the Rockets.
Especially in their house.
In their house, too. Yeah. Let me just quickly see the shot attempts that Curry had, because I'm wondering if I want to fade Curry or Butler in this game. Because Butler did seem a bit banged up, but he was so good in the second half. You know what? I think I am going to go for it. I'll go with a bolder play. Give me Steph Curry under 23.5 points at +148. I'll take a bold stance here. I'm picking Houston to win the game. I think Houston will be able to play good defensively. Golden State played well offensively, even with Curry not doing much in the last game. There is a chance that they once again sell out on Curry, opens the door for Hield, opens the door for Podziemski, and maybe Butler also goes for 30. But I do think Houston's main objective every game, don't let Steph Curry kill us, and we'll take our chances. So I'll go with a Steph Curry lackluster game. They'll send 5 bodies at him. Other guys maybe play well. But you know what? Curry's actually had less than 21 points in 2 of the last 3 games. And Golden State just won the last game, with Curry being mostly a decoy. Maybe they'll stick with it. It's my hot take of the show. Give me Curry under 23.5 points at +148 as my dog. Anyway, for the underdog entry for the actual card, we can go with the Reeves default points if you want to.
I like the threes better.
So we can do that.
The threes better, like you said.
Okay. So Reeves threes in this game. You can find that available. Sorry, just quickly trying to pull it up. So his threes are available at 2.5. Pretty heavily juiced, I'll admit it, but it is at 2.5.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think he hit 3. Yeah.
Okay. Do we want Luka first quarter?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Throwing it out there. Luka's first quarter, by the way, I believe is at 8.5.
Yep.
Let me just quickly check if I can find it. It might be higher on some other spots, but let me just see what I can get here. It might be 9.5, actually.
I think it was.
Yeah, it's a 9.5.
Hasn't he scored double digits in all of them except for 1, which was the game that he was sick?
Yes, and that was the game where he was puking. But he has scored at least 11 first quarter points in 7 of the last 8 games.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with that.
So I'll go with Luka first quarter as well. And for the last game, you want something with Şengün? Do you want something with
PR?
Houston? Do
you want to go PR
Jalen
with
Green lower?
Şengün?
I'm fine with
I love
that.
Love that.
Okay. So Şengün, his PR is available at, it should be like 30.5 or so. Let me just check. It is available at 31.5.
That's fine.
Okay. So once again, the 3-pick entry for Underdog, we're going to go with the Austin Reeves higher 2.5 threes. We'll go with Luka higher 9.5 first quarter points. And we'll go with Şengün higher 31.5 points and rebounds. Anyway, that is going to wrap it up for the show. Back once again for the games tomorrow. Terrell's going to be off for the rest of the week, so it's going to be Lonte and I going through the games. But until next time, find me on Twitter at Reichel Radio. You can find him on Twitter at XXLonteXX. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all